Hello everybody, apologies for the poor video quality. It's getting dark up here. Lawrence is just enjoying some dinner. I am keeping him company, and so I thought it was a good time to kind of sit down and catch you guys up on day 252. So this was really the first day that I was truly kind of back and had time, you know. And it was kind of an exciting day actually, because I thought I had to go to work, but because of the time difference I got it wrong, and so I had this like whole day to myself, and I came up and I was up here for probably 4 or 5 hours just doing horsemanship, which was the most exciting thing. Like it was so, I was just full of energy, full of motivation, full of like just everything. It was just really magical. I did 2 sessions with both horses, which was really cool. With Lawrence, the previous day, the first day I was back, I had started setting up a pattern with him that I definitely want to share with you guys on video. Which has been really interesting, because I think what it's brought up is how sensitive he is to pressure, and how easy it is to really kind of like push him over the edge in those situations. And I've been reflecting a little bit, and it's really good because I definitely feel like now I have more of an idea of where I want to be at. So the pattern I was essentially implementing is a style of supportive leadership which has kind of a piece of low pressure and pieces of higher pressure, where I'm walking around him and I'll like sort of take a circle, walk a circle, and then I'll come in, I'll start at his left shoulder and I'll stroke along the entirety of his body, like to his trunk, across to his hinds, around like his hind end, back the other side to his right shoulder, and then I'll go down like right front leg, right hind leg, left hind leg, left front leg, down his neck, down his ears, face, take my circle, come back around and repeat that pattern. And the idea is, you know, that I'm being sort of relaxed and supportive, and I'm just repeating the pattern until I see a clear focus category change, because he's quite good at glancing at me or like sniffing something as he, you know, well, sniffing is fine, he can do the sniffing, like glancing at me as he comes by, but other than that he's not really super good at other focuses. While he's eating, he really is not that curious. And so I was hoping this could be a way, because when I've tried to work in flow with the touching distance before, it's always been really overwhelming and I've always pushed it too far. So I thought, let's set up a nice kind of supportive leadership pattern with this. And then when we're playing with this a little bit and it's kind of working quite well, we can start to also play with the passive leadership pattern, where I'm just in these different places of flow around him, and then he kind of gets to choose which one he would prefer based on kind of, if it becomes overwhelming for him, then I can go back to my supportive leadership pattern and he can kind of like get the opportunity to make choices. But it was so interesting, because I think even setting that pattern in place and having that really clear goal, I could feel like my intention had shifted and onto his intention, and he found the whole thing really overwhelming. And I think only really today, and we're 2 days later now, have I felt like he's kind of come back out again of his shell. And it was really interesting. Like, it was definitely a decision that I made when I came back, you know, that first day, to kind of jump into that. And the next day I came back and I worked with it a little bit more. We worked a little bit on the scratches and really got a good long session in with all of that stuff. And I think I really felt, I think I had some sort of like self-doubt at that point, but I definitely dealt with that by just sticking with the pattern, because I think, you know, I really feel like I need to give it a number of days at least before I can really see or notice anything that's changing, you know, because like doing something for sort of probably 7-8 hours before you can really say to yourself, okay, or for me, and with Lawrence anyway, being able to say, okay, these are the things that I've noticed, these are the things that he's doing, these are the things he's not doing, these are the things that are triggering him. But you've got to have that amount of repetitions, you know, and you've got to give it that time. And when my sessions are sort of like, you know, 30 minutes, you know, to an hour maximum at a time, I really need to like give those, you know, few days really to like to build any sort of reasonable sort of things that I'm noticing. Obviously, if something extreme would be happening, then that's different. But so it was kind of just a case of like sticking with the pattern, kind of holding my breath a little bit. I really like wanted to not quit, because it's not quitting, but like my version of quitting, I think, is like to just try a bunch of different things, like, oh my god, things are getting difficult, maybe I'll just go back to my walking, or maybe I'll just compromise on my areas of flow. And you know, one of the reasons why I really felt like I had to stick with this pattern was because I noticed as soon as I came back how often he makes flow difficult for me, and I fill in for him, which is great, and it makes me a great friend, but it doesn't make me a great leader, and it doesn't build trust. So that was really the key point for me, I think, on the second day, that really pulled me through day 252 with Lawrence, because I really was like, okay, this is difficult at the moment for both of us, difficult for me mentally to feel like that this pressure is stressful for him, but I don't have another option, because flow is not easy enough for us that I can do anything else. And I could walk, but we've done hours of walking, and I know that that is not going to stimulate any curiosity, because he'll just get really comfortable and he won't feel the need to come out of to be curious beforehand, because that is how I've trained him. I've trained him that way, you know, from concern through to comfort without looking at that curiosity. So I picked this pattern. It's for all the right reasons, and I've just got to stick to it and readjust as I go. And so that, you know, with time, I have to give it time before I reflect and make any adjustments. So that was really where I was at with Lawrence. And yeah, went away after the first session, came back, did another little session where I was slightly lower pressure, just because I wanted to feel better about the whole thing, and again had some nice moments. When he's not grazing, he's pretty curious, and so if I can catch him at those times, it's easy for us to have a really nice time. And I was just really careful the second time when I caught him. I think he was at the hay bale, so he was slightly more curious than when he was grazing, and so I was able to just fit in with that natural cycle of him being more curious and then just leave, which was really good. And it made me feel better as well, that it hadn't just been difficult the whole day. With Mia, I had a super great session with her. I came in, did a little bit of sort of freedom-based work, and actually no, that's not true. I came in initially and I did my my dominant work. I came and I put the halter on, which was really interesting. I was working with a pattern of, she was at the hay bale, so I was working with increasing pressure in a sort of pattern. So it's like, kind of like, Pirelli people know the language. If you don't, drop it in the comments and I'm happy to explain it further. But like phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4, back to phase 1. And I'm just putting that pressure kind of like just behind her pole, just to like ask her to move her neck around so I can put the halter on. And so played with that for a while, got the halter on, took her down the hill, which was a whole pattern in itself, which I will definitely talk about at a different time, just kind of conscious of my time limits. I've been talking for 8 minutes already. And came and did a ride, and it was amazing. It felt so good to ride. And some wonderful human must have done a little bit of work on the mounting. I had a whole plan for the mounting, had a whole plan for how I was going to get to a place where we were okay to tolerate mounting. And I got into the arena and I got up on the mounting block, and she came and she stood beside me, and I got on, and I was like, oh, sweet, somebody's fixed that with dominant training while I've been gone, which is perfect, because I'd kind of said, right, okay, this is where we're at, this is how we're going to do it, this is the plan that I had put in place for myself, that I felt comfortable, a level of pressure that I felt comfortable with, to kind of fix that problem enough that I could get on and start riding. And someone else had done that for me, so that was pretty awesome. Yeah, and basically, in a nutshell, we've been working with using sideways into sideways to relax into the forwards, and sideways to relax into the stop. And so it was really interesting for me, just kind of getting that feel, getting back to know her. Yeah, just had a little ride bareback, worked a little bit more on that on the ground, took her back, had a lovely little sort of 10-15 minutes, just real relationship building, money in the bank. She's actually a lot more easy to flow with than Lawrence. I think that might be because she has more of an understanding or an appreciation or awareness of her body in relation to other horses and people, and I find that she doesn't lose me as often. Lawrence will wander off all the time, and I think that's who he is innately anyway, and I think I've also helped train him that way because I've never really noticed, and now I'm noticing, and that's really made a shift in our relationship, whereas with Mia it's much easier. So yeah, so that was really my day with Mia. Went back and did my little session with Lawrence, went back and did another small session with Mia with the herd around the hay bale. That's something else I'm hoping to video for you guys, talk about in a bit more detail. But yeah, I was really happy with day 252. It was really just, yeah, such a buzz. So yeah, looking forward to more sessions like that.